welcome back, folks, to the Race Control Podcast, Episode 8. We got a whole bunch of stuff to cover today. Welcome to my jungle that I live in. We changed the facility today that we're recording in, try something different. We also have a ton of stuff to go over with Mexico and Brazil this week. It'll be super interesting. So we'll see where that takes us.
I like the jungle, man. I feel cozy in here. It's nice. It's a good change.
Yeah, the lighting's a little different.
I think the lighting's better.
So we'll see how it goes. As always, like and subscribe to all the socials.
Everything's linked down below here.
We're on X now, which is pretty fun. I'm enjoying myself on X. And I recently discovered that they sell F1 swag at Abercrombie, so I'm even more stoked now. My favorite shop has F1 swag.
Are you a big Abercrombie boy?
Just kidding.
I could see you. I can see you getting in there.
It's decent stuff, though. So if you're looking for swag, there you go.
They do. I look for it too. I think Costco sometimes is selling F1 stuff now too. Actually, I was at Costco. We're already getting so sidetracked, but I was at Costco last week, and they had the Lego Senna F1 car.
That's a good one.
It was $80, and I was like, oh, shit, I should buy that.
Yeah, because Lewis drove that car.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did. See, we're on topic.
Yeah. It's all relevant.
Yeah. Should we? I want us to just jump straight into Mexico.
Yeah,
because I think we got to kind of pile through this pretty quick.
I mean, it was a bummer for me. That's just all I need to say about it.
I had the best weekend. Possibly the best weekend.
Yeah. Okay. Carlando, Charles, Ferrari. Also, Ferrari had the sickest helmets that weekend.
Dude, they did. Yeah. So I think we'll do a 2-part segment on the helmets. We'll do Mexico. Carlos and Charles just both came in with heater helmet designs.
Yeah, they did.
And actually, it was Ocon. Oh, no. Gasly.
Yeah,
Gasly's was really tight too. And then Colapinto.
Yeah,
Colapinto's with a retro throw. Super sick. What you were talking about Fernando's.
Yeah, he's like 400th race in Formula One, and like he just shit the bed that race too. Yeah. So I think he DNF'd.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer. I also just didn't totally love the helmet design, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, it wasn't my style, but I think it's a cool concept.
It is a cool concept. I was getting like bowling alley bowling ball vibes, like with the gold. That's just kind of where my head went with it. But in terms of helmets, like, I don't know if you agree with this, but personally, I think my top 3 would be the Ferrari boys and Colapinto. Those 3 are. I'm gonna
vote Carlos is the best helmet of that weekend.
Oh, for sure. Dude, for sure.
You see how he was carrying it on the podium?
Yeah.
He was so
he put it down on the car afterwards. Yeah. Also, what a crazy just like the car coming up. It's just like Mexico so really. Do
you see last year so Max won last year, and he was sitting on the car, and he had a big Mexican sombrero when he came up.
No, I didn't see that. That's that's sick.
So good. It's just he looks so awkward. But Carlos definitely had a little more style in his win.
Yeah,
I think.
Charles showed up in like a full. I don't even know, like a conquistador kind of outfit, sick. All black, and like I'll try and put a photo of that up too. It was really cool. Like he did it, like it looks sick.
Yeah,
it looks super dope.
I mean, you called it almost with the predictions.
I was close. Yeah,
you got Carlos, Lando, and then Max. But as we all know, Max didn't really do great, and Perez was just nowhere to be found.
I'm gonna get in on this now while I can, because I know when we move on to Brazil, I'm gonna be just absolutely just hearing it. So I kind of got to shit on Max for Mexico at least, dude. He was a monster.
Just like, be careful what you're saying.
He was dive bombing left and right.
Okay.
He was a villain. He was an absolute villain.
Time out. You know who was on the stewards that weekend?
Yes, I know who was on the stewards that weekend. Because you're going to start going like, oh, it's collusion. And Max was being like...
They're trying to make an Abu Dhabi 2021 Constructors Championship, Drivers Championship, all down to the wire. We all know who's going to win. Let's let him have it.
It's going to be Max. It's going to be basically impossible for... Lando to come back at this point. But
I do
you
agree.
can't
It was
you
a little
can't
bit
disagree
extra.
that
It
he
was a
wasn't.
little extra.
Yeah, he was dive bombing like crazy.
Yeah.
That's that's all I'm gonna say about it, because I think that that's a topic that's also been talked to death with Max and like his Apex strategy, we'll call it.
Sticks it up beside the car and says, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, Yuki's opening in that race.
Yeah.
That was a crash that, this is going to sound terrible. It was a crash that I was like waiting for. Not that it was Yuki, but just like in general, I don't know how many races it's been now since we've had like a legit like crash. I think we've been building up to one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was Yuki, and he was just trying to take an opportune moment, and then had, I think it was one of the Alpines on the opposite side of it was the opposite side of Alex. Alex kind of got boxed in.
Yeah.
Yuki, and I'm gonna assume that it was Ocon.
Yeah.
Both.
I mean, Yuki was being a little bit aggressive, and like props
He was.
to him. He needed to be aggressive about it. So
he has Lucas or not Lucas. Liam breathing down his neck.
Yeah, or in front of him, actually.
Yeah, well in front of him. Both those two have been doing phenomenal, just in both Brazil and in Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I hate to say it, but Liam's kind of killing it.
Dude, he's killing it. And do you know what's actually something I want to highlight, and it comes up in both Mexico and Brazil, is just Liam's relentlessness against Checo. Like
Checo and Fernando.
And he had a little bit of a battle with Colapinto too.
Yeah.
He just pissed off the entire Spanish-speaking community in that race.
What are we doing when we're going by too? We're just giving the bird.
Yeah, we're giving everyone the bird.
Yeah. I'm surprised he's still alive, to be honest with you. He got out of Mexico. Okay.
Insert the Liam Lawson theme song here.
Yeah, it's a good one. He's a gnarly Kiwi. He's killing it, man. He's
aggressive.
He's making, like, I mean, he's driven in F1 now. He replaced Daniel when his hand was broken.
Yeah.
I wasn't overly impressed with him, but this stint in F1, I feel like he's just saying, like, this is it. I'm gonna be my own driver. I'm gonna show up, and everyone, you better watch out because I'm coming through, or I'm gonna play hard D.
Yeah, totally. I think he's got to fight. He's trying to really assert himself now, because he does have that seat to the end of the season.
Yeah,
but I don't think his contract extends. Does it beyond 2024? No,
not right now. So he's fighting for a seat either in the RB team or in Red Bull themselves in the big team. So, I mean, I think he's kind of showing Perez. He's embarrassing him a little bit.
Yeah, and I think rightfully so. I think if you had Liam in that full RB seat, he'd be doing a lot better than Checo. I don't know if you want to get into it now, but the Red Bull kind of sandbagging their constructors kind of leads into it a little bit.
I think, you strategically, you don't get as much money. And I guess the concept that we're going to be talking about is, are they sandbagging to get more aero time for next year? Because now that they don't have like their wizard in the shop, they got to figure out like aero time. Is it worth losing out on millions of dollars in funding? I'm not sure, but it could be. You never know. Like,
it's a double-edged sword. I don't think that they're strapped for cash, although you saw VCarb is changing their name next season.
Dropped,
so it's just Racing Bulls. And they haven't dropped Visa and Cash App, but they're taking a notable step back in, I'm going to assume, a monetary amount, because the logos are getting a lot smaller. They're still going to be present on both Red Bull and Racing Bulls cars, but they're not going to be title sponsors.
I mean, that's got to have something to do with Daniel.
100%. I think it's got to do with Daniel. Yeah. So them sandbagging to get more aero time, as much as that does make sense, like, they've also got to be kind of hemorrhaging cash a little bit. But again, it's Red Bull. They're such a huge company. It might not even matter, honestly.
I mean, this is still in Mexico, but like, everyone's going to be losing some cash after what happened in Brazil.
Yeah.
So we'll get there.
We had, we'll get there. But everyone was kind of all over the place.
How impressive was Carlos's drive in Mexico, then?
It was amazing.
It gave me like, holy shit, this guy's sick vibes. We were watching it at the bar, and it was like on the big screen, and Lau was there. She was wearing all her Italian shit, and all of a sudden Carlos wins, and it's like the highlight of her weekend. It's just like seeing Carlos. She's like making out with the TV. It's like, come on. But like the guy's a beauty. Like he killed it.
Dude, he crushed it. I don't know where it came from, that drive, man. Like it was so... He smoked everyone. It was so dominant the whole race.
Yeah.
He was a clear victor, and also going back to just qualifying as well.
Yeah, he put it on pole.
He put it on pole. Like he just dominated, let Max get by. I think it was like the second lap.
Yeah.
And then... because he went out onto like the lawn. Yeah, he went down onto the lawn, took the lead, and then gave the position back to Max without anyone kind of being like, hey, man,
BS.
no McLaren BS. And he's like, I'll give the position back because I know I'm going to get this guy in like three turns here.
Yeah.
And he did. And he got back around him, and that was it. He was gone.
Yeah, I mean, it was impressive. And Charles, too. I mean, Lando definitely had some pace at the end of the race, which was a little bit scary.
Yeah. And Charles doing that little...
Yeah, oh, man.
His little step out there.
He puckered for sure. Like, he saw wall, and he just put his foot into it.
Dude, I think he did more than pucker. I think there might have been might have peed a little bit.
It's funny because that clip showed, and he almost hit, and then it goes to his girlfriend. His girlfriend's like, oh.
Dude, there was the wall, and then there was also, as he's kind of barreling down the straight, there's also like a pylon, like some kind of like a design pylon.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably saying like a distance or something. But yeah.
The pressure was on. Lando put it on him. He fucked it up. He opened it up for Lando to catch up to Carlos, but luckily Carlos was, I think, just kind of holding back some pace a little bit.
Yeah.
It was also good to see the Mercedes up there too.
I was going to bring that up. They were definitely up there, but I really enjoyed watching just that inner team battle of Lewis and George just kind of going for it, and George holding Lewis off for so long.
Yeah. It was impressive.
It was impressive. It was fun to watch. It gave a little bit of life into that team that I think they had at that point been missing.
Yeah. I think Lewis in general is just missing life right now.
Dude, I think he's counting down the races till Ferrari.
He's got to be. I mean, seeing what Ferrari's done with like almost zero upgrades in the last couple of races too has been super impressive. They've definitely figured out that car. Yeah. And next year is going to be interesting because it's going to have to continue. They're going to have to keep on it. And if we look at what's happened, like say like the last 4 or 5 races, and at the start of next year, and you see McLaren and Ferrari going at this, Red Bull's just nowhere to be found in this constructors battle right now. Yeah. Like it's just Max kind of like putting the team on his back, and occasionally like the last couple of races scoring like a 4th, 5th, 6th.
Yeah, well, they're just like down a driver. It's almost impossible for them to gain points when I don't want to like beat Checo to death because it seems like we're doing it every podcast, and then it's gonna come up again for Brazil, but he just isn't doing enough.
You're in your home race and you don't even make it out of qualifying. Like you don't even make it out of Q1.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
It's straight up embarrassing. And like I like Checo. I think Checo's sick, but like what's going on, dude?
And these last 2 races in particular are really bad on him for the fact that Mexico Max gets that 20-second penalty. Basically goes down to the end of the grid. Yeah. Checo's down there too. Yeah. Max, by the end of the Mexico Grand Prix, what was he, 4th?
Yeah, he finished 6th behind Lewis.
Like he just walked up the grid.
The only person he had trouble passing was the Haas and Kevin Magnussen because Kevin Magnussen's got...
He's a wall.
He's a wall. Yeah. And like even hitting on the last couple laps to go for fastest lap and putting the sauce on, and he doesn't get it.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Man, it's brutal, dude. Yeah. Like, come on.
And I don't want to jump up to Brazil just yet, but it's a very similar situation of Max being at the back with Checo. Yeah. And then walking his way up. Yeah. And Checo's in the same car. He's in the same thing. Yeah. There's no reason other than Max just being like an insane driver. Yeah. So I will give Max that compliment. He is a very, very talented driver. Yeah.
That's not news to me.
Yeah, I know you're such a shit. You're just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Look, I'm stoked for Carlos. I'm stoked for Charles. I'm stoked for Ferrari.
I mean, Charles got fastest lap on the last lap, dude.
Yeah, he crushed it.
Yeah, he put it on there. So, like, good for him.
He absolutely crushed it. I don't really have much else to say about Mexico. We got a guest appearance, Mia.
Yeah.
I don't have much else to say about Mexico. It was a great race.
I mean, it was good, but it wasn't great.
It was
I mean, it was a Ferrari. It was good for Ferrari.
It was a fantastic race.
Yeah.
Possibly the best race of the season. It was the one race from start to finish that I think I was the most amped up.
Yeah, it was good.
Mainly because it started with like Yuki's crash, Max
penalty,
being a wiener with Norris, and then you get like just the Ferrari boys just dancing around everyone, going up to the front. It had me standing up.
Yeah, you had some feels. I can see.
I had some feels. It was a good race for me.
Did you see in the cool down room when they were showing Max defending Lando, and Lando looks over at Charles and is like,
yeah, Charles has some of the funniest like facial expressions in the cool down room.
Yeah, I agree. He's very easy to read.
Yeah.
I don't know. That bugged me. Lando's just kind of
go off. I know you want to talk about Lando. Go off about Lando. Yeah.
I really was like Team Lando for a long time, and now that I've seen like the real competition come to him, he's not just like Lando anymore. He's like fighting for wins, looking to win the drivers' championship. McLaren, there's tons of inter-team battles with Piastri. Like he's just like kind of, I don't know. He's just kind of turning into a little brat.
Yeah. I mean, let me play devil's advocate a little bit here. I think it's a lot of like pressure that's all of a sudden, because at the beginning of the season, I don't think anyone was expecting McLaren to be in contention for this as much as they are.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it has kind of come on mainly in the back half of the season that Lando's kind of had this pressure kind of come on him.
Yeah.
And I think largely he's been very let down by his team. I think they've had some of the most like brutal strategy calls I've seen.
I mean, McLaren is definitely part of Lando's downfall.
For sure. And then like, I do agree with you. He does need to get he needs some, what's it called? Like PR training, or whoever's like coaching him on what to say when he gets out of the car and he's going into the press box. Like he's got to be a little bit more controlled about what he says, because he does say some like dumb shit.
Yeah.
And he needs to kind of get control of it. Yeah, he needs to get control of his emotions a little bit. He's still young. Was he like 26, 25?
Yeah, he's really young.
Yeah, I mean, what do they say? Your men's frontal lobes aren't developed until they're like 26, 27.
Well, I mean, I guess he's just not like the Lewis Hamilton.
No,
media trained, won all these races.
Look, Lewis is a publicist's wet dream.
Yeah, that's true.
He like literally is. He's like the perfect. He's up there with, I would say, like Danny. Yeah. In terms of being like a team and like publicity child. Like they're just perfect. They're perfect in every way. They're attractive. They look good. They're well spoken. They're a good front runner to like show off the sport. Lando's not that. Max isn't that either, though. Don't you dare tell me that Max is the media darling.
Speaks his mind.
Yes.
And I think Max is not like, he's angry.
Totally.
He's not petty. I think he's petty in the car about like the FIA stuff, and
dude, he has his little outbursts. He's getting mad at Charles.
But like Lando just seems like a spoiled child.
Totally.
You know? Where Max is just like angry.
Yeah. I think Yoss instilled he had a pretty strict household.
Yeah.
Which I'll get to later.
We know why Max won the Brazilian.
Yeah, there's a clip in particular that I want to see if I can find of Yoss talking about how, I don't know if you saw the same clip. It's like Max karting as a child and Yoss being like, it would start to rain. We'd send all the other kids in. Max would stay out there, and if his fingers got cold, I'd tell him to put his hands on the exhaust before your gloves burn. Take them off, and just do more laps. Yeah, just insanity.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be world champion.
So yeah, what's what you got to do?
I mean, he had a world champion drive, so.
Should we jump up to the sprint?
Yeah. I don't know. Sprint was good. I'm like hit or miss on sprint formats.
Yeah.
I mean, McLaren was doing McLaren shit again.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest takeaway for the sprint was the Haas yellow flag.
Yeah. Or he beached himself.
Or he beached himself. And then the timing of McLaren swapping. Did you catch
with
this?
The FIA, I mean, it was total like.
Well, Max thinks it's collusion.
It is. It's just fucking collusion.
Yeah.
It's.
You're such a Max stan.
It's like, dude, you. How long are you gonna wait? Hulkenberg was out of the car before they flagged it. Like before they had the safety car come on. Like he should be waiting in the car, and the race control should be putting the safety car in.
Yeah.
And then he should be getting out of the car. But he was waiting there for so long because McLaren needed to switch their drivers for the couple extra points, which they don't even need anymore because they suck.
Yeah, but at the time they didn't know that.
And just one more thing to add on top of the collusion that's going on with McLaren, I think. I mean, obviously it's not that collusion, but like there could be, and that's what we want to talk about because I want to know, like, this is kind of rigged a little bit, it seems like sometimes.
Yeah. I think this ultimately goes back to, I don't know, I think it was a few episodes ago, you and I discussed there needing to be more strict regulations in who is officiating the races, like who's the governing body. Like I know it's the FIA is the governing body, but like they need to have like any other sport, they have a body of refs that they can pick from for different places, and the refs go with them, and it's the same people. They're not getting bought out by the teams.
Yeah.
Whether it is like ex drivers that want to continue to be a part of the sport or whatever, like just a consistent governing body of people that are officiating and making rulings on the race.
I think it needs to be like here are the referees, here's the list of the referees that you can pull from. On the bigger races where there's higher stakes, you have a referee tiering, and those are the referees that it's like, in hockey or basketball, like there's certain referees that will ref the bigger games.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And they get paid well for that. They're paid well enough that they're not potentially getting bribed by like a McLaren or like a Red Bull's coming in and being like, hey, like, if this happens.
And I get that there's probably track specific things that you would need to learn, but you just learn those things. Like you be around the sport, you go through a system where maybe you do Formula 1 or Formula 2 or Formula 3, and then you step up into Formula 1 as a referee. Like you don't just like jump from one thing to like, oh, I graduated here, I'm a Formula 1 referee. Like it's just like all the other sports in the world, you need to have a standardization of how it's judged.
It's crazy that that's not a thing.
It blows my mind. And maybe we're just illiterate to it. Maybe that's something. But like Daniel Kvyat was one of the refs or the stewards this weekend. I think it was in Brazil.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, man. He's got to have beef with Max. Like, or they're like best buds, but they're like joint dads.
Yeah, you don't know, man. They might have good like shared custody going on.
Shared something.
Yeah, I mean it is strange. I don't know how that topic comes up. Like, do those guys like, do they volunteer? Do they reach out saying like, hey, I want to like?
I don't know. I have no idea how that works. How, like you get recruited to be the FIA steward that weekend. I mean,
if someone knows, and maybe you and I are just being completely like ignorant of it, comment. Otherwise, like I do think we should look into it. But from like seeing it, like I do think it's just kind of chaos. Like it's just
it is, and like the fact that they let McLaren do that. It felt like they let McLaren do that. It was kind of ridiculous.
The timing was crazy because they swapped and it was like,
but they had opportunities
5
to swap
seconds
before that too. Yeah. When Max was still behind Charles.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like he's holding it up for you. Like Charles is doing you guys a solid right now.
Yeah.
Pass each other. Like do the swap.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it just goes back to McLaren's just made some of the almost Ferrari level.
Yeah,
calls.
They're the new clowns of the pit wall. For sure. And then, not to mention now on the restart after the virtual, Max is on Piastri's ass trying to get by him, and what happens is they delay the green light.
Yeah,
they delay the track change, and Max is beside him. So then he gets a penalty and he falls from third to fourth or third to fifth. Sorry.
Piastri also did defend well though.
Oh, Piastri's whatever.
He defended well. I think
Max had to stop. I think he could have had him.
Yeah, Max. I think
he was there.
I think Max, based off of all the shit that had happened in Mexico, I think he was like a little bit like, okay, I need to pump the brakes on this a little bit, otherwise these guys are going to be attacking me. But I do agree that sometimes it does seem like the cards are stacked against Max occasionally.
Yeah, okay, occasionally, yeah.
Occasionally. I mean, I
think they just want to make a good drivers' championship. I think that's
totally
what it comes
It's good
down
TV.
To.
It's good TV.
It's great. I mean, look at all the drama and all the shit talking that goes on because of all this stuff, right?
Tons. But you hope that they're not doctoring it. I mean, there's a bunch of rumors
there's so many conspiracies.
Well, there's a bunch of conspiracies that the NFL is
like involved.
No. That the NFL is like completely choreographed, and that whole thing is like staged. So if the NFL is staged, then it's totally the world is staged. Then it's totally possible that the FIA is just completely like colluding to make a perfect show every year. But I find that a bit.
But we love the FIA. We really do.
We do. Yes, they are the greatest governing body of any sports I've ever seen in my entire life.
Them. Thank you so much.
Yes. The full race.
Oh man. Where do we start?
Hold on, I know where to start. Our brother in Christ, our blood on the track, Lance,
our guy,
our boy.
Oh my God, dude! What was he doing?
I don't know.
I was literally yelling at the TV.
Today I was on a walk with Courtney, and I wasn't yelling, but I was speaking quite loudly, trying to just explain to her the idiocy of this guy spinning off in the fucking formation lap.
Yeah, on the first corner.
And then like having directly to his left, beautiful, brand new resurfaced track.
Yeah.
And then to the right, a gravel trap.
Yeah.
That without question, he will beach if he drives into.
You have zero speed.
There's zero speed. Like there's no way that you're thinking I can drive through that.
Did you hear the radio call too? They even told him to stay on, like go left.
I don't know. Other than like it just raining so hard that he was like, fuck this.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
I'm going in. Daddy's buying me a sundae. I don't care.
I want a cocoa.
I want a
hot chocolate. Is there Tim Hortons in Brazil? Actually, I think there is Tim Hortons in Brazil.
That's sweet. That's sick. I bet you they probably make their donuts fresh still. We don't. But dude, I hate that he's the only Canadian representation on the track. It drives me nuts. Although I was reading where the race was doing a thing that apparently it seems like there might be some talks of Lance potentially becoming a reserve driver. Yeah. Because the more that Lawrence brings on people to the board, people to be, he's diluting his share of the company. Yeah. There becomes less and less control of him, making this decision to have his kid in the seat when his kid is evidently the greatest Canadian driver. The greatest Canadian driver to ever exist. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I think even for Lance, like, dude, you're still in F1. Like, just be a reserve driver, man. You can still go on tour. You're still like signing autographs if you want to. Maybe broadcasting's your next path. Like, I
don't want him broadcasting.
Like, I know, like all the Canadian action sports guys love Lance Stroll. Like, you see, like Mark McMorris hanging out with Lance Stroll in the winter.
Yeah, I think that's that cheddar. He's got a real nice cabin that they all want to go to.
Got a full quiver of boards to try out.
Plus could you imagine that guy's got to have like a gazillion snowmobiles and like backcountry access and his own. Yeah, exactly. His own helicopter probably. Yeah. Every broke ass border in Whistler is like, I got to be that guy's buddy.
Man, that was it's so brutal that he would do that, though. I don't get it. And then not to mention what happened after that on the restart is they essentially like X the start of the race, and Lando decides, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And then what happens after that? You get a $5,000 fine or something?
Yeah. George got the fine, and then I think Yuki and Liam got like a little bit of like a, hey, don't do that again.
It's freaking brutal. Like, if you're going to find someone. These guys make millions of dollars. You think $5,000 is going to make a difference?
No, it's a drop in the bucket.
$50,000 fine. You know what I mean? Like, times it by 10, dude.
Yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. Everyone went, though. The whole grid ended up going. But yeah, it 100.
Not everyone.
Oh, get off of it. Max was on that radio so fast.
Yeah.
Wrong.
You can't do that. Nope. This is not how it works.
In sim racing, this would never happen.
Yeah. If I was in P1, it wouldn't have happened. The grid would have stayed still.
Did you see photos got put out of Max's sim setup for the 24 Hours of Le Mans virtual?
No.
Dude, it's so funny. It's this like empty ass room with crazy sim rig jammed in the corner, Red Bull, like stocked Red Bull energy drink fridge, and a giant LED neon sign that has not been hung up. It's just kind of laying on the ground that just says fuck off.
I love that, actually. We should get one of those.
But it's just so funny. I'm like, this dude's like, is he like in an empty house? Like where's all the furniture?
Okay.
He just has like this huge room that's just, the sim rig goes in the corner. No one ever come in here. Yeah. This is my dojo.
I would definitely have that set up.
Totally. Yeah.
I would have the sickest.
You would have that plus like camping chairs and like a TV that's like sitting on the floor. Propane fire. But I cook all my hot dogs on the fire.
I got the window open. It's fine.
Just breathe deep, bud.
Yeah. Okay. So the race.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll let you go first because
I mean, like it was chaos. Just the amount of rain that was going on. I sent you a clip of just like people in the stands.
Yeah.
Of like the amount of water that was on the track was just wild. And like, I don't know, that race was pretty wild. Just starting to watch it, how long that delay start took, and then when they finally started going,
it started raining harder,
even harder. And so what I can't remember off the top of my head. It was George. Was it George and then Lando, or was it it was Lando. Like the V-Carb boys, which was wild. That both of those two were up higher than Max and Checo. I was so hyped for them. I wish that they held their position. Well, not even that they held their positions longer. It's just that red flag kind of.
He was third,
which is amazing.
Sick. But that's because a little Ferrari guy decided that he was going to go out.
Yes. Yeah. I sorry, just quick back on Yuki. Whoever he is, it's some videographer that works for F1 did him so dirty.
Oh no.
I guess it takes place right after the qualifying. They're interviewing, and it's also not totally the camera guy's fault because they're filming George, who admittedly is probably one of the tallest guys on the grid.
Yeah, him and Esteban.
And then he walks off, and then it's Yuki, and you can see just the top of Yuki's head coming onto frame. And it's like it's like a good like 3 to 5 seconds, and then they adjust it down to like Yuki. I was laughing so hard because it's just
they just did him dirty.
They did him so dirty. But he's also so short when he's compared to like George. I'm sure this guy's looking through like a viewfinder.
Yeah,
and it's just like
man.
But it's still impressive, man, that he was able to get that high up.
I mean, it just goes to show, like, driving in the rain it's equal playing ground.
Yeah,
it makes everything just better.
Yeah,
and this was I would say this was the best race of the season for me.
You liked it that much?
I was like so committed to it. I even told Lau, it was like the first time I've watched a full race and not like dozed off.
That fatigue.
Yeah, that mid race.
Yeah,
like, you start to get a little sleepy. You got to go make a coffee kind of vibe. I didn't get that this race.
You couldn't. There was just so much potential for any kind of mix up, which we did have.
Yeah, I mean, it was also like interesting to see Alpine up there,
way up there. But
not a fan, but I
think you and I evidently are not fans, but it's cool to see them up there, and they were so hyped to be in that space, and then in the cool down room afterwards with Max, and Max was really happy to be the presenter on the Max show once again, explaining.
Excuse me, it was the Max show. Yeah, it was amazing.
And he's Max-splaining to Ocon.
Handing out fastest laps, dude.
Yeah, he did. I think it was 10. No, it was 9, and then Lando got 10th.
Oh, good job, Lando.
he did one. Did you see Charles also asked? Charles like radioed in, "What's the fastest?"
Yeah.
What was the fastest lap? And they said, "Don't ask Charles."
Yeah, you're not gonna get it.
It was like a sec.
Dude, I remember
it was like a full second.
It was just Max. Like,
dude, he just got out there and just started clearing space.
And it was funny because on that restart where Esteban was ahead of him, the first one, he like kind of like watched what Esteban did, and then Esteban gapped him a little bit. I think he was like almost 4 seconds ahead. Then they had the second restart behind the virtual safety, and Esteban tried to do the same thing, and Max was like, "Nah, dude, I got you this time."
Yeah.
First corner, just see you later, dude.
It's got to be so easy for him to get around those Alpines, though. Those things are basically anchors.
I mean, I don't know what was going on, but it seemed like Red Bull had a superior car this weekend.
Max had a superior car this weekend.
Max had a superior car. And I don't know. I will say it was definitely a lot of driver talent. And Lando, shut up, dude. Like, it wasn't just luck. There was talent.
Okay, I will say that quote has been taken largely out of context.
Yeah, you think so?
I've gone back and I looked at it. It's taken completely out of context, and everyone's blowing it up on social media. And I could be, eating my own words on this, but I'm like 99% sure the sentence that he was saying wasn't talking specifically about Max. He was just talking about the general race as a whole, that, things like this happen, that it is luck, and getting to that top spot of being in that top 3, like the Alpines were. Yeah. Like you can't, if you take Max out of the equation and it was like say Esteban came first. Oh. You and I would be having a very different conversation, and
freaking race.
Yeah, and we'd be saying it was 100% luck.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
so that's essentially what Lando was getting at. There was a large amount of luck that was involved in that victory. Okay. Yes, Max put on an absolute clinic. Yeah, insanity.
Yeah, I mean, like, George and Lando both screwed themselves for pitting when they did that first pit stop. Yeah. And then, George even called it. He was like, they're going to stop the race. Like, it's raining too hard. Let's just hold off. And Mercedes made a bad call. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure George said, "I told you so" a million times to them after the race.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I'm sure Toto was stroking his back.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, George. But, I mean, George had P1 for the first half of that race. Like, he was there. Yeah. He was winning the race. Yeah. And Lando was like staying within a certain amount of time. It was close enough where, there was a pit stop, undercut, overcut. It was critical at that point, the tire change. But like, they pitted too early. Everyone on those intermediates, Max, Esteban, Gasly, they stayed out. They blew their opportunity to win. But the other thing is they couldn't get by Gasly after.
Yeah, he locked them out, which was crazy. And then what's nuts too is Lando also wanted to go in.
Yeah. Well,
he was asking to go in, which is stupid.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's a mixture of like the team telling you what to do and I guess the driver having their input. Yeah. The driver knows how the car feels, even though the team is getting relayed all this information, right? So I don't know. It was also sick because how many DNFs did we get in that race? There was like
4 or 5.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 DNFs.
Yeah.
It was a big hit to Ferrari this weekend too because Carlos DNF.
Yeah, that point loss is, they're still second in the constructors, but it really kind of, it shoots them in the foot for that potential win. I hope so badly that they win the constructors.
Ferrari?
Yeah, I hope so bad.
You think so, eh?
Yeah, I would be so hyped if they did. I think it would just be hilarious for them to kind of come out of the back and take it.
Dude, I'd love to see Carlos win the constructors with Charles, just as like their last like hurrah.
The big like
you guys kind of messed up.
I think they deserve it. Although I want to just jump back to Lewis a little bit. I like Lewis. I think he's a cool dude, but I just have this feeling that he is not going to do as well in that car as Carlos does.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think Carlos has learned the car.
Yeah, and I think if you like just look at Lewis in comparison to George this whole season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, George is out qualified him most of the time.
Yeah. The last handful of races, last 4 or 5 races, he's beaten Lewis.
Yeah.
Every single race. He's qualified and then placed, I think, ahead of him in almost every race.
I mean, you saw like little snippets of like Lewis proper, I feel like, this weekend, but it wasn't like impressive.
Dude, he hated the car. He was so mad at the car this weekend.
I mean, I think there was a lot of porpoising going on in a lot of those cars.
You could see it on the camera. They were bouncing. If I'm Rio, I'm going back and I don't know how much it's going to cost them, but they got to fix that track.
I mean, they just resurfaced it. Maybe, I mean, it could also be because maybe the asphalt was sitting or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just when you tell these drivers like, hey, this track's been resurfaced, they're thinking this thing's going to be like billiard, like table smooth.
The car super stiff because of that, because they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's totally possible.
Totally screwed their setups. Because Fernando, did you see him get out of the car?
Yeah, he was like my back. I mean, he's also 103 years old. Yeah. He's got to be more gentle with his back.
I mean, he was like straight up like, I'm only finishing this race right now for the mechanics because they rebuilt the car. Yeah, like that's literally what he said. And he got out of the car, and Carlos was like, "Dude, are you good, man?"
He was stiff, man. Yeah. I would he's like I said, he's 403 years old. He's still a phenomenal driver, but yeah, I'm sure that did a number on his spinal cord.
Yeah,
he's like 3 inches shorter now, just compressed.
He's going to be using his Aston Martin employee benefits before the end of the year.
Lawrence, you're going to get a huge ding from my chiropractor, bud.
My Canada life better go through.
Yeah. Yeah, they're probably on. Do you think they're on some kind of Canadian benefits package? That'd be hilarious.
You get $500 for net.
Yeah, you get $500.
We get 80% of it covered.
Yeah, we have to approve the massage place too.
No optics this year. You got no optics.
Oh, poor guy.
But I mean, going back to the results of the race, we were talking about Yuki earlier and like how impressive he's kind of been. Mm-hmm. And like Yuki beat Liam this weekend.
Yeah, he did. I think he needed to.
I think Liam has been more the talk of the town recently just because he's like having that really intense midfield battle. When I say midfield battle, he's like holding Sergio Perez back, which is ridiculous. Yeah, he's able to do that
in a considerably lesser car.
Oh, like a drastically worse car. And Fernando too. He's going at it with Fernando.
Yeah. It's very funny though how much Lawson is in particular attacking Checo. Yeah, because like Max came up on him.
Yeah,
no fight from Liam. Yeah. Checo comes up on, like, he sees Checo in the rear view. Fuck this guy.
Yeah. No fucking way I'm taking that.
Exactly. I could be wrong on this, and I could have been duped by like a fake news outlet, but I saw that Yuki's going to get an opportunity to do a test drive in the full RB car.
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, was that real?
Yeah, I don't know if it was real. I hope so. I think Liam and Yuki are both going to get the opportunity to do like a testing it. And I think it's actually a tire testing that they're doing somehow.
It's a bunch of bullshit. It's not a tire testing.
Next year. It looks like Daniel did at Silverstone last year.
That's sick. I mean, I hope one of them gets the nod to go up. I saw a bit of like a guess theory that Red Bull all of a sudden is like wanting to back Colapinto.
Oh, dude.
So what this like theory is proposing is that Checo's going to be next season just I don't know, he's going to dissolve into thin air. Like he's just he's going to be a reserve driver, but he's not going to be in either of the seats. Either Yuki or Liam is going to go up, and then Colapinto is going to take that seat.
Yeah.
Or sorry, no. It was actually even more wild than that. It was Liam and Yuki stay.
Yeah.
Checo goes.
Yeah, Colapinto gets the main seat.
Colapinto gets paid for by Red Bull to go into the Williams seat. Red Bull pays Williams a buyout fee and takes Carlos to do a Carlos and Max RB.
That's wild.
That's a theory. It's a theory. It's a theory that I saw.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think Carlos would do that. I don't know if he has I don't know if he has a choice, but I think he has a choice.
I think if Red Bull came down to Williams, who's broke as shit, and was like, "Hey, we're gonna buy out his contract, and you can put Colapinto in."
But you got to remember who's the head of Williams, and I know like business wise that might make sense, but like James Vowles was at Mercedes for a long time.
Yeah,
and
I think he's still got a little bit of allegiance,
a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Maybe. I mean, I think they do have an allegiance because they're running a Mercedes engine in the back of that Williams.
True.
Right. So I mean, that's another guy that Liam's been throwing hands with is
totally
Pinto, right? And
unnecessarily.
I don't know if you saw on the drivers' parade in Brazil, it was Colapinto, Sergio, Fernando, all like in one little huddle, and then it was like Liam right beside them by himself, and you know that they're just like talking shit about Liam.
Yeah, all in Spanish, so he has no idea what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think Liam's the guy for the seat.
Yeah, I think attitude-wise, I think he would drive best with Max, personally.
I hope that he's willing to be the bot ass in that situation, though.
I think he might be malleable to that situation. Although he also has been saying, like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win.
Yeah. But
which
I
is
think when
pretty
you get the real seat, then you don't.
Yeah.
You kind of like.
Plus, I think that Red Bull's just a bit skeptical on Yuki, especially with that Honda powertrain leaving, and I know he definitely has ties to Honda, which
he's going to ask them.
Yeah, which goes back to my thing of potentially with Lawrence losing, majority control of the company, Lance gets kind of put down, and then. Not put down, but he gets pushed aside. Yeah, he gets pushed aside, and maybe Yuki goes over there. Speaking of Colapinto, though, the one thing that happened at the race that I thought was like complete bullshit was Behrman's penalty.
Driven to the back of him?
Yeah, driven to the back of him. Colapinto didn't lose any time. Behrman lost time.
Yeah.
And then got a 5-second penalty or 10-second penalty or something.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but Behrman was driving like an animal.
Yeah, he was.
He was driving like a crazy guy. Like, he was just all over the place.
He was.
Like going off the track, bumping into Lewis.
Yeah.
Bumping into.
He was bouncing off of people.
He was just like, I don't really care. I don't give a shit.
Not my car.
I got a seat next year.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do. Move over.
Yeah, he was chaos.
Yeah.
He was pretty chaotic. Another kind of thing that I just wanted to bring up too, because I've been noticing in the last couple of races is I think that Alex he's been driving worse and worse the last couple of races. Yeah. And I think Colapinto is stressing him out because he's had Logan Sargent to compete with all season, which obviously Sargent wasn't kind of pressuring him in any way, shape or form. And now Colapinto is a little bit of the talk of the town, and Colapinto's a good driver.
I think he's doing good, yeah.
But Carlos, who's going in that seat next season, is a incredible driver. He's a veteran. He understands how to drive. I think it's going to be a bit. I don't know. Albon is a good driver if you let him kind of like be comfortable in his environment.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't comfortable in the Red Bull environment. He was comfortable at VCarb or AlphaTauri or whatever it was at the time, and he did well. And then they bring him up, and he's now in this stressful environment, and it just shits the bed. Goes down to Williams. He's with an absolute turd of a partner.
Yeah.
Google's great. This is a nice, comfortable environment. Does really well. Everyone's like looking at him going, wow, look at Albon. They get rid of Sargent, bring in a better driver, and all of a sudden he just starts dropping off performance-wise. Like, it's not the vehicle, it's not the car.
I mean, he didn't even race this weekend.
So
the fact that they chose Franco to race instead of Albon kind of says something a little bit too. Like, they could have pulled that Logan Sargent mover, like, Logan, you're out, bud.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Alex is taking your car.
Yeah, they didn't. So, they had more faith in him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I think Colapinto's going to have a seat somewhere next year. Maybe it's going to be at Sauber.
Totally possible. Totally possible. I think anything's possible with that kid. Like he's really done a good job showing in this short period of time.
Yeah.
How good, because it's so crazy too. He didn't have a stellar F2 career.
No, he's kind of like a nobody.
Yeah.
You know, but like also they were saying that flights from Buenos Aires were like sold out because people from Argentina were just going to Brazil to watch Colapinto. There was like a huge demographic of Argentinian fans there, like watching. I don't know if you saw like in the stands, like all the Argentina flags.
Oh yeah, all the yellow.
Yeah, no, all the blue and
yes,
blue and
yeah.
Like it was all over the place. So,
dude, yeah, they love him.
So I'm stoked on it. I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting. That was by far the best race of the year. I got like all hail Max. It was freaking insane. Like,
bow down to the
dude, did you see that pass around the outside on the first lap?
Yes, yeah.
That was insane.
He went by like it was like five positions or something.
Up like little ants on the inside of the track, and he just like goes around the outside.
They asked him that in his like little exit interview. Oh man, I can't remember what he was saying, but he said he had so much traction on that outer corner that he had been investigating, and no one else seemed to be like aware of it, and he just.
Yeah, he was just there. I
just utilized it.
He was in touch with the brakes this weekend too.
Yeah,
because every single pass was like almost on that first corner, just dive bomb to the inside. It was man, I was just losing it.
He drove
the TV.
He drove very well.
You need to shut up, and I'm like, no, this is my guy.
You need to shut up.
She saw the results, and she was like, oh, you're gonna like them, and I was like, don't tell me anything. And it's like lap 30, and we have to like take the dogs for a walk. And I was like, had to put it on pause, and I was like texting you, and I was texting another guy that I work with, and I was like, I'm on lap 30. Don't tell me anything. It's just starting to get really good. And you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna get
yeah. You're gonna really enjoy what happens.
I was just adding to the suspense, and I was sitting here like on the edge of my seat.
It was a good race.
Little 42-inch TV, just drooling at this Max performance.
Yeah, buddy, we gotta get you a good.
I know, man.
Good 60-inch in there.
We're working on it. Black Friday's coming around. So,
okay.
Yeah, hopefully the world doesn't end this tonight.
No, yeah. Courtney, when I left the house, she was looking at the election results.
Oh, scary.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about politics.
But yeah, man, I enjoyed the race. It was good. I love a wet race. I'm interested to see how Vegas is coming up.
Dude, tickets are looking cheap.
Yeah, what you said? You said it was $99.
$99.
Is that for just like general admission? Like stand? Who cares?
$99. I'll stand wherever you want me to stand. Like, if the time comes.
Oh, or we're getting flights.
We should just go.
Okay.
And we could just not book a hotel. We'll just we'll just sleep on the street.
I found that, dude, hotels in Vegas are cheap.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of places that if you go and you sign up for like a card, I was watching, you can get free accommodation and stuff if you're gambling. So as long as we gamble.
Oh, I'd get like $10 or something.
Yeah. Or we just try and rent like a tent.
A tent?
Yeah. There's like just tenting areas. Gotta be tenting areas. It's a giant desert.
I'm telling you, man, if the tickets stay at that price, I think.
I got the... Ooh, yeah, almost knocked the phone over. I got points.
You got points? Yeah, I got points too.
I got points. I can fly down there.
Yeah.
I can fly down there.
Fuck, we could drive.
Dude, that'd be a hawk.
It would just take a day. That's not much more than a day.
You think it's a 24-hour drive?
I think it's probably less than 24 hours. I bet you it's like maybe 15.
Well, if we take the taco, we can sleep on the taco.
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit, we could.
Yeah, sleep in the taco.
That'd be cute.
Yeah. Well, I can bring my tent too.
You're gonna tent on the Vegas Strip.
People do it all the time, man. They've got a tent city.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
You need to leave.
It's this giant
no, I'm just here for the F1 race.
Yeah. Don't mind me. Yeah. It's this giant orange 5-person tent.
All of a sudden, it's like 2 days later.
But we can
Joshua Tree.
Yeah. we can drive out, man. Go to like the boonies and then drive back in.
I mean, I'm sure it's a disaster there. Maybe we can find some. I don't know. But like,
I'd be interested to look into it and see what.
Maybe I'm feeling sick that weekend. You know.
Yeah.
That week. Yeah.
You take a week off.
It'll be tight. Maybe we should talk about predictions for Vegas. It's a couple weeks away. Times.
Yeah.
It's an interesting track too.
Yeah, I think I've talked about all the little points that I wanted to bring. We kind of blew through that, but yeah, let's talk about predictions for for Vegas.
Yeah. It's a fast track.
Yeah. As long as stuff's not being sucked up from the ground.
Yeah. I'm going to go. Oh, fuck. Am I going to go? I'm going to go max P1.
Of course you would go max P1. You're going to go max P1. Put me down for a Charles. A Charles. Ooh. P1.
Charles. Okay. P2. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Lando. Actually, I'm going to go Piastri.
Okay, that's a good guess.
Okay. What you got?
I'll put Max in P2.
Oh. Cool. P3, I'm going to go George Russell.
That's a good guess.
No, I'm going to go Sainz.
I was thinking I'm going to go with Hamilton.
Hamilton. Ooh.
Yeah.
He's in America, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's been feeling the low, and I think he's going to maybe try and pull one. Plus, he's done pretty well in Vegas historically, so I could see him. As long as he can get that car under control.
Yeah.
Although Vegas is like because it's a street circuit, it's kind of like a bumpy track.
Yeah.
And that car is just a monster that they've been driving, so I'll stick with it.
Yeah, I respect that. I think one thing that we didn't talk about that we were going to talk about, I wanted to talk about was the Red Bull's current accusations about how other teams might be cooling their tires off.
Yeah, get into it.
I was watching a video today about how Red Bull has filed a claim with the FAA saying that other teams might be putting water in their tires, and that's how they're able to run these longer stints because it's able to cool the tires down.
That's so crazy.
Be total bullshit, but the reason that they're saying this is because some of the team members that they previously had at Red Bull have moved to these other teams, and they were experimenting with this at Red Bull before they left. So they're thinking that the other teams have kind of like gone off on this same train, the people that have left, and be like, Red Bull was doing this before we left. We should try it out. And that's what's going on.
So like Red Bull's was a crying wolf.
Yeah, essentially they're like crying wolf. Like, we were going to do this, but you guys said no, but other teams could be trying to do it now. So
that's so wild. I would just feel like, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I think if like you're putting water in there, I feel like that's got to be like throwing off the balance of the wheel because it's
50 grams of water supposedly.
Oh, so it's like so small. Interesting. That's crazy if that's true and that it is actually making like enough of an effect that it's keeping the tires for like, I don't know, 5-6 more laps.
Maybe this is a small difference, but I think the larger point of it is that now they filed this, we'll see if these other teams are still performing at the same level.
Yeah.
If they're not performing at the same level that they might have been, or are like, let's say 2/10 slower or something.
Yeah.
There is something behind it. And they were saying that they filed this just because they might as well file the complaint just to make sure that now the FIA is going to scrutinize the tires a little bit more on what's going on with the tires.
Interesting.
So,
well, we'll see what comes out of it. That's pretty wild, though, if that's true.
If it's not water, maybe it's something else. Maybe something is going on with the other teams and how they're
some kind of cooling
tires, which could be interesting. I don't know. So Vegas is going to be one of those tracks where I think it's going to matter because it's a
hot
speed track.
Yeah, it's hot too. They're also at night.
The corners on that.
Yeah.
Like huge high speed to low speed corners.
This might be kind of controversial, but I think Vegas might be one of my like least favorite tracks of the season.
I mean, the only reason I want to go is because it's Vegas.
Yeah. I've never been.
Really? I've never been as an adult.
Were you there as a child?
Yeah, we used to have soccer tournaments in Vegas all the time.
That's pretty buck.
Yeah, so like we used to collect the little stripper cards.
Cool.
We used to trade them back at the hotel.
Nice, that's the stripper cards.
Yeah. They whack them against their hands and they give them to you, like underage kids, like giving
yeah,
pics, and like you're like 16, you're like, oh shit, look at her tits.
I can see her titties. They're like, you come back when you're 18 now.
Yeah.
Or 21. Yeah. Sorry, America.
But yeah, cool. Vegas. That's pretty much it, I think.
All
Thanks for listening. I know it was like a lot of info packed into a small amount of time, and there was a lot of Mia whining in the background, but we got through it.
We got through it, and we'll put socials down here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, catch you in the next one.